is by one of the large hollowed logs directly in the viewing area. And we have mom number one out there going to cross the rock bridge right now. She's going to be spreading a little food around. I noticed she put some in the pat tree. Let me talk a little bit to the people here at the North American Bear Center about the PTZ driver. The PTZ driver is a very important person for the people around the world listening to this podcast today. It's the person that actually moves our pan, tilt, and zoom camera located on one of the posts up here on the observation deck. They can pan, tilt, and zoom that camera wherever the action is. Right at the moment, we only have Holly Bear out, and we got a plan, and most of our plans work, but sometimes the bears have other plans, but we're allowing her to eat by herself here, and she was very anxious, as you could see when she walked out. If you could watch her follow mom number one. Let her eat here a little bit by herself, and then we're going to be letting Lucky Bear, our 7-year-old male, and Honey Bear, our 18-year-old female, out. And when that happens, it usually takes anywhere from 5, maybe 10 minutes for them to come down. It may even take 10 minutes today because Lucky's not big on the rain. In fact, this morning when we were doing breakfast, we usually have to find him in one of his day beds. Breakfast is about somewhere between 8 and 9 in the morning. Well, this morning we didn't have to look very far. He had put himself in his den sometime during the night. So when our staff members went up to give him breakfast, it was pretty easy find. He was right in his den, staying nice and dry. Holly Bear is our newest ambassador bear here at the North American Bear Center. And as I said, she's just 19 months old, and she was born of a wild mother in the state of Arkansas. Now, if you watched what mom number one there was doing, she was actually touching little Holly Bear. She can get by with that. Most of us can't. And Holly has begun to trust Heidi and another staff member and looks to them as somewhat of a surrogate mother. So she will tolerate that from those two individuals, not so much from the rest. And that's okay with us. That's fine, because we want Holly to be herself and be a bear. PTZ driver Holly Bear is at the hollow log right front center in the viewing area. Some of her favorite food, she's actually eating quite quickly, is peanuts in a shell, unsalted, and red grapes. Those are two big favorites. And we have also found out she likes dried apricots. That's another favorite. But Holly Bear was born of a wild mother in Arkansas, separate her mother due to a wildfire. She was taken in a family setting and to be raised in a family environment, and that's not anything you would ever or should ever do. The authorities found out about that, took her out of the family setting, took her to a rehab facility in Tennessee. She was rehabbed there but deemed non-releasable in the wild. Her choices were pretty limited, either find a forever home or euthanasia, and that's how we got Holly Bear in December of 2013. She hibernated until about the first week of April, and we happened to notice coming out of hibernation, we thought she had some skin condition that we had a little concern about. So she was not allowed into the 2.5 acres here at the North American Bear Center until late May. During the month of May, we worked very hard at getting her to trust the humans here that were going to be her forever caretakers. And that's why I mentioned mom number one that was just out here 5 minutes ago. And mom number two is not here today, but she's got 2 surrogate moms here on staff. And with those of us here on staff, it is extremely clear to us that she responds quicker to them and clearly demonstrates a more trusting relationship to those two people than the rest. Yes, she does respond to the rest of us. She does respond, but not quite as enthusiastically, shall we say, as she does to the other two. She's eaten, or at least eaten some of the food on that one large log, but now she's working on an enrichment tube, which is really a PVC pipe with holes in it. And why do we do that? Why do we put out a PVC pipe with holes in it? It's just a simple demonstration of what she would have to do in the wild if she needed to get food. She either needs to break open a rotten log for immature ants, ant larvae, which is a favorite of black bears for protein, or possibly a beehive that they want to break into. And I know the myth is that black bears love honey. Well, that's not really that accurate. They like beehives because of the immature bees. They do get honey in the process many times, but it's not the honey they're after. It's really the immature bees for their protein. Holly is now kind of using her nose to snoop around and find out where mom number one hided stuff. And for those of you watching PTZ Driver, she's right near the pat tree. For those of you on the deck, you got a superb view of how hard, or rather effortless, it was for her to move that log. It takes 3 ladies to lift that log that she effortlessly moved, or 2 men. She's a 96-pound, 19-month female, and if you observed her carefully, it took nothing for her to move that log. At 96 pounds, she's already able to overpower either one of her surrogate mothers if she wanted to. She doesn't, but if she wanted to, she certainly could. And she's the fastest runner of all of our bears as well. She can outrun Lucky, our 7-year-old male. She can climb faster than Lucky as well. I'll tell you a little bit about the 2.5 acres here before Lucky and Honey come out. In fact, the staff members have gone up the hill to let both of those bears out. I suspect, as certainly in the case of Lucky, they're going to have to do some coaxing to get him out in this weather. It's really quite damp, and it still is raining for those of you worldwide. And it's not expected to be very warm today, and it's not expected to be a very nice day at all. As well as tomorrow, it's supposed to be in the 50s and 60s for a high. Not for a low, but for a high. We have 2.5 acres here at the North American Bear Center. Basically, it's all wooded except for what you see right here, the pond and the waterfalls. The pond, the waterfalls, and the little creek is all man-made. The waterfalls are... I've just been informed, PTZ Driver, that Honey Bear is heading toward the food shed. So, PTZ Driver, we've got Honey coming from the food shed, and we have Holly Bear on the scale. For those of you here at the Bear Center that you don't know, that little box that Holly Bear is sitting in right at the moment, she's getting a few treats. That is a scale that we weigh our bears. We try to weigh them every Tuesday. PTZ Driver Honey Bear in view at the food shed. Notice now you're going to begin to get behavior. Holly Bear is moving away. Holly Bear has seen Honey, and Honey has seen Holly Bear. It'll be quite likely that, I was just going to say that Holly Bear is going to run to a tree, and she just did that. Holly Bear's ears are back. She's keenly watching Honey Bear. Staff members have thrown out a tube for Honey. a PVC pipe with treats that will stop honey for a little bit. PTZ driver, Holly Bear is at the base of the pat tree. Honey Bear is by the scale. Starting to rain a little harder here and a little bit more breeze. So if you hear that on my mic, I somewhat apologize. I will attempt to hide the mic a little bit more from the breeze. Now at this point you'll begin to see some potential interaction between our two females, and it could be quite interesting. Honey Bear will more than likely finish the food first. Then she will cruise around and maybe look at the other PVC tube to see if there's any food in that. And if Holly Bear attempts to approach her, she will more than likely attempt to tree little Holly Bear. And you say, gee, that sounds kind of mean. Why would you tree Holly Bear? Well, it's a great question. In the wild, it is a matriarchal society, and the females run the show. And Honey Bear, our 18-year-old cinnamon phase black bear, runs the show. PTZ driver Holly Bear is at the pat tree. Holly Bear has positioned herself very carefully at the tree. She's eating a few treats. But if you watch Holly Bear carefully, she's got one eye on Honey Bear. She has her escape route already planned. If Honey Bear gets too close, for those of you on the observation deck here at the Bear Center, she's going to climb that tree. Honey Bear is not done with her food yet, and is really not paying any attention to Holly at this time. But if Honey gets closer, you will probably see some action. I suspect that by now they would have left out Lucky Bear. Attention PTZ driver. Holly Bear is on the pat tree, trying to get the food on the hay. And for those of you on the deck, you're getting an exceptional opportunity to see what would a black bear do with a bird feeder. Now, Holly Bear isn't a bird feeder, per se, but it could very easily be a bird feeder. She is problem solving. That's what little Holly Bear is doing right now. She saw food on that little tray that could just as easily be a bird feeder at your cabin or your house, wherever you may live. And if you are in black bear country, many bird feeders have attractants in their food for black bears. So even when you think you're feeding birds at a bird feeder, I really don't care for the word bird feeder very much. I really like to call them wildlife feeders. Even if you're not in black bear country, a bird feeder will attract birds, squirrels, chipmunks, raccoons, skunks, fox, and deer. And if you are in black bear country, you will attract a bear as well, just like little Honey here. She's in a very awkward position, but she's getting the food. Now, she actually went up the tree for two reasons. Number one, the food, and number two, now she's not going to come down because Honey is moving extremely. What you just saw is Honey making it clear, don't come down. Stay put. I want to tree you. So she again, Honey Bear just told Holly who's the boss. That was a very, really quite gentle bluff. If you notice, she somewhat slapped the base of the tree. And Holly Bear has just about got everything off the little platform. I think that I can see one little nut left on that little platform. Holly Bear is almost upside down, close to it. And by the way, she will not come down from that tree head first. She has to reposition herself to come down butt first. Or I maybe should better say tail first. Holly is giving you an exceptional demonstration of what bears will do to get food. There's not much of a branch over there either. I'm on the wrong side. I can't see that little tiny branch she's hanging on, but I know people on the food shed side of that pat tree can see that little branch she's somehow balancing on. She also has one front paw on the little tray. And now she realizes she's got no more food on the tray, and it's now I better get settled here because I still got Honey Bear, and I better check out where that big Honey Bear is. Talk a little bit about Honey Bear. Honey Bear has moved now back to the scale area and back to the PVC pipe that she started with. Honey Bear is reasonably satisfied that she's told Holly Bear who the boss is, so she went back to see if there's any more food. Honey Bear has always been in captivity and was born on a game farm. She's a beautiful, beautiful cinnamon-faced black bear. And children always ask me, well, she's not black, so she can't be a black bear. Well, that's not true. She's a cinnamon-faced black bear and is just as much a black bear as Holly Bear. PTZ driver Holly Bear is at the base of the tree, pat tree, trying to get a few treats still in the holes drilled in the tree, and maybe picking up some of the treats that fell on the ground. If you watch both of the bears, they both are occasionally eyeing one another and paying attention to where each one is. They eat a little bit and check where the other one is. Eat a little bit and check where the other one is. As I was saying, Honey Bear is a black bear just as much as Holly Bear is. We have a kiosk inside the exhibit hall that can tell you about the various colors black bears are. I want to say thank you. I forgot to mention our famous PTZ driver that's out and about today. She's a volunteer and she is from the great state of Illinois. She is manning our camera, our pan, tilt, and zoom camera to get all the action for you two between these two females. I am panning the area looking for our 7-year-old male Lucky, and I might have predicted correctly. He's not down yet. And I'm panning the entire area here from left to right. If Lucky does appear, he should appear from the right. Would be most likely he would appear from the right. But I have a little concern that it's raining out, and he put himself in his den last night all by himself, and he may not choose to come out only because of the weather. But I will tell you, we certainly will announce it if he does come out, because Holly will have a playmate. And Lucky has been inserting himself when the three of them have been down in the viewing area between the two females. Yep, one of our visitors says, oh, that's interesting. Yes, he has. And Holly Bear has seeming to have been watching Lucky and sees him as, shall we say, a big brother, and kind of make sure that she keeps Lucky between her and Honey Bear. Lucky is a 7-year-old neutered male with a similar history to Holly Bear. He was Born of a wild mother as well from the state of Wisconsin, went to a rehab facility and subsequently came here for a forever home. Holly and Lucky are now friends. They play together, and they have many times we have found them hanging out in the 2.5 acres together as well. PTZ driver Honey Bear is headed toward the High Falls. Holly Bear is still near the Pat Tree. I want to thank you all for coming to the North American Bear Center today on this rainy and kind of cold day today. It's a great day to be inside. We have over 60 videos in the exhibit hall, as well as 2 BBC documentaries playing in our theater continuously. They start on the hour every hour. One of the BBC documentaries was filmed in 2010, the other one in 2012. Both were filmed here in the Ely area, in the wild, in the woods, documenting the life's work of Dr. Lynn Rogers and his fellow associates. It is people filming them film wild bears that they have worked with based on a trust-based relationship on a long-term study of a clan of bears called Shadow's Clan. PTZ driver Honey Bear is on the rock bridge. Holly Bear has climbed back up the Pat Tree just in case. Holly Bear watched Honey Bear and anticipated what was going to happen, and for those of you in worldwide visitors, Holly Bear is basically at eye level to those of us on the deck, and she's staring right at us. And she's probably got a half a dozen videos and cameras taking pictures of her right now. Again, I want to thank all of you for coming to the North American Bear Center today. Your admissions pass is a day pass. You may come and go as many times as you like today, and we are open until 7 o'clock. Our next enrichment is at 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. Both at 1 and 4, they will be broadcast worldwide. So tune on in later on today, and let's see what's happening with little Holly Bear, who right now is higher than all of us standing here on the observation deck. Hope to see you and hear you. Tune in at 1 o'clock today, and thank you very much for our worldwide volunteers that has made this podcast possible. Thank you very much.